Hi, I'm Heather French Henry, the host of Heart of Gold, a monthly program whose mission is to highlight examples of what makes Louisville, Kentucky the most compassionate city in the world, as declared by Mayor Greg Fischer. This series features local nonprofit organizations of all shapes and sizes, which are working to improve the quality of life for all Louisville citizens. Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to WHAS TV for generously producing this series. This segment features True Up. True Up is a groundbreaking initiative to empower young people in foster care to gain the critical life skills they need to make a successful transition from a structured environment to self-sufficiency. True Up is a movement driven by foster care youth and alumni who are committed to providing a support network and helping one another continue their education, get jobs, build families, and start lives after foster care. The True Up mission is to focus and connect people to ensure that foster youth believe in themselves and excel in life. And so now we are going to be talking with several people from True Up who have a partnership with True Up. But first up, we're going to talk to Frank Harshaw. Frank, you're the founder and chairman of True Up. And you're a successful businessman, president and CEO of Harshaw Drane, and you've been a committed advocate for foster youth, and you actually grew up in foster care. Is that why you got involved with this?
Exactly right.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about what led to your vision to help bring up True Up for foster youth.
Well, you know, you're talking about two different things here. One is founding and one is vision. Okay. So founding, I'd been supporting foster care here in Louisville for over 30 years, but just giving contributions, not really involved. So I really didn't know what was going on until I talked to Jerry Cantrell, and he told me what was going on in foster care, and I had a vision from that from my own experience, I knew that education is the engine to get you out of poverty. And so the other thing that I really liked about talking with Jerry is that we really need to think about how we can collaborate with each other and other agencies, not only the foster care agencies, but many other nonprofits, to help foster care kids while they're in foster care and after they're in foster care.
What do you think are some of the fundamental needs while they're in foster care that that you identify with in kids today? What do they need the most? Is it education they need the most? Is it stability they need the most, or all of the above?
It's all the above, but when you get right down to it, in my mind, and everybody has their own ideas, but in my mind, it's stability and it's caring people around them. Because if they don't have that, they miss that from not being with their family to begin with. And guess what? They did not elect to be an orphan, which they really are, because they've been abandoned in some way. Either the parents died or they were taken from their home. Any way you cut it, they've been abandoned. And so they need caring people around them.
Well, speaking of caring people, we have a lot of caring people on this couch, certainly. And
yes,
sitting right next to you is Nikki Thornton. Nikki, you're the Director of Program Operations at True Up, and you have a real passion, of course, to empower the foster youth and young adults. You've been working with foster youth since 2000. Right. So tell me, what inspires you to do this?
I think my biggest inspiration is when you see the youth and the young adults reach their successes and their goals. And you feel like they have this hope that then they can go to the next goal and the next goal and reach those as well. So they have this motivation that comes from that success.
Why is it so important to reach out to these young adults as they make that transition from foster care into independence? And what types of difficulties do you see in that transition?
I think it's important because I think that's a critical time when they're trying to make choices and decisions, and there's a lot of options. Some are good, some are not so good. And so I think it's important that True Up can be one of those positive choices and offer those positive resources and awareness of what is in this community. So I think some of the challenges that we see are just sometimes the youth and young adults don't realize how great, how wonderful in Louisville there are to have so many resources available, so many collaborations that are possible, so many people that want to help and can help. So that awareness.
What type of skills are you working to give them for that transition? I know working with the military, we do a lot to give them skills for transitioning. Are there specific set of skills that you're working towards in that transition phase for them?
There are. We have what we've identified as our pillars. So we have 8 pillars that cover everything from education to parenting. That's something that our youth told us that they wanted and that they needed. We believe in having the youth voice, so we also have some practical things like going in the community, doing these experiential activities where they can meet someone and have a contact person available. We really believe that academics, having really strong math, reading skills particularly, are important for our youth, but also the internal motivation. The internal things that are going to sustain them past 18, past 21 when they leave state's care.
Do you ever have those that have transitioned successfully, and maybe even not so successfully, have they ever come back to you? I know you're probably not case managing them, but over 15 years, certainly, you've probably kept up with a few.
That is true. And those are the stories when they call you and just say happy holidays or I'm okay. Those are the stories that keep you going. Those are kind of the work that you've put in, and you can see those results. And sometimes it's in unexpected places, and you've wondered how that young person was doing, and then you see them doing okay. And so that's exciting.
We keep those for our happy files,
yes.
right? For the rainy days.
Yes.
No doubt. And speaking of partnerships, as we talked about before with Frank, we've got a young lady here, Miss Abby Drane. Abby Drane is the president and CEO of Uspiritus, a nonprofit agency serving at-risk and abused children. Uspiritus is one of 7 founding members that partner with True Up for the benefit of foster youth. So Abby, how do agencies like Uspiritus work with True Up?
Well, Uspiritus and other agencies here in the Jefferson County area have children from all ages. We at Uspiritus serve from age 6 to 18, and then if children are aging out of foster care, they may choose to live with us a little longer through our independent living program. So we serve 160 kids here in our residential and then in our foster care, and we also have some outpatient services. So each one of our agencies have maybe a few kids aging out. Okay. But we don't have enough kids to provide a really good program that's comprehensive enough to give all the benefits to these children. So True Up program offers those benefits and brings those children from each one of those agencies, and now they can partner with each other, and they can have peers that have same experiences as them, and then they have each other to support as they either take on a job or learn new skills or get their education going.
That's quite an age range. You said 6 years old to 18?
And if they choose to stay a little longer, till 21.
What are some of your experiences in the different age ranges? I know this may be a big question, but you know, a 6-year-old and what they need is going to be quite different than what an 18-year-old needs.
Right. At 6 years old, they're learning some of their social skills, and up to 18, they're also learning some of their social skills.
We're all learning some of our social skills.
Right. So we're giving them some of that trust back, and you know, wrapping our arms around them and building some social skills, learning how to get along with others in just their home environment. And even at 16, 17, they may need to learn those skills as well. If they've come into our care at a later age, some of them have not learned that. So in the homes that we have, they're more or less locked in. They don't have much experience for independence on their own. So when they've turned 18 and they hopefully enter into that independence living, hopefully they've chosen that in their life, and then we can partner up with True Up to provide that additional support around these children.
And so when receiving the extra support as they age out of the system, again, you're talking about a transition, right, as they age out of that system. Are you also offering, or is True Up offering that those transition skills?
Well, both of us together. We have some of those transition skills. We're maybe teaching them how to cook, clean their home, but also partnering up with True Up, who can provide them other experiences as well. They learn how to ride a TARC bus and get a job. They learn how to budget, balance their checkbook, maybe go out there and get their own bank account. They teach a lot more than we're able to teach. We're still working with those 160 youth on building that social skill and hoping to build toward independence. At 18, they get to choose that independence, and they need that support.
So the partnership with True Up has been really important for you.
It is really important for us. My staff, they don't worry about the 6-year-olds as much as they worry about the 17 and 18-year-olds that are going to make that choice to walk towards independence without the support that they need of loving parents and loving family around them.
Well, talking about someone who successfully transitioned, sitting right next to you, we have Miss Chelsea Hoover. Chelsea spent time in foster care as an infant and again as a teenager. While a teenager, she moved 14 times in 9 months. When she was 18 years old, Chelsea started at JCTC and was introduced to True Up. Chelsea is now 22 and just 12 credit hours away from graduating with a degree in communications. Chelsea, when I was reading your bio earlier and you talk about moving 14 times in 9 months, how does that affect you?
Well, by the time I got into foster care at 17, I was so traumatized that I had to go to various different hospitals and residential placements, and like many of us, acted out, misbehaved, and were very upset about our lack of power and control over our lives. And you know, looking back, being able to share these experiences and not dwell upon them, but using them to make changes like we do. And I just want to say that people think foster care is tragic and doomed and ruins our lives, but I think that it saved my life more than anything, and I don't think people think about that as much.
Well, what a bright shining light certainly you are, and to others who are out there in the system, certainly tell us a little bit about your experience with True Up, what kind of skills it gave you, how it helped you to be that overcomer.
Well, I have so many opportunities to meet lawmakers and state level workers and people in the community otherwise that support our efforts, and True Up just sort of validated what I want in life and how I can go about it and skills to do so.
Have you been able to mentor anyone else in the foster care system, another person who you have seen that needs maybe that additional support?
I refer to them all as my foster brothers and sisters, even though we were in residentials.
Sure.
It's the same thing. And yeah, I still keep in touch with a lot of and it's, you know, they don't all stay successful necessarily, but all I can do is try to show them, sort of like lead by example, that no matter how traumatized whatever we went through, we can still have successful jobs and education and healthy relationships.
So what's next for you? So you're graduating soon with a degree in communications. What's your hope for the future?
Well, I would love to further my advocacy. Lobbying, perhaps just staying with what I've started with, because I never knew that this was what I was going to do. And I went to a True Up meeting and I was just like committed from the get-go. And so I'd like to continue that effort.
Excellent. Now, Chelsea, I'm going to go back to Frank. We have just about a minute left. Frank, what does it make you feel like when you see a success sitting at the end of the couch?
Wonderful. And Chelsea, I can tell you, when she came to that first meeting, she was scared to death, right, Chelsea? And virtually almost couldn't talk. And then about 6 months later, she was talking to legislators about a Senate bill that we had sponsored, and we got that Senate bill passed. It had been going on for 5 years, and this was what True Up's all about. We've given a voice to the foster care kids, and that's what we really strive to do. And the name True Up came from the foster care kids. Now, they like to be called foster care youth, so sometimes I slip back to the kids. But
True Up, how did that come to being?
Well, if you think about True Up, and I can't remember who it was, but one of the kids, when they were talking about True Up, you know, it's in alignment. And then all of a sudden, one of them jumped up and said, I got it, because that means we have to get in line.
Very nice.
And so it was great. So that's what we like to do, is put the youth in the center, find out from them what they need, and then work to provide that.
Well, it sounds like you provided a wonderful atmosphere, a wonderful program, great partnership with Uspiritus. So thank you all so much from the True Up team. Chelsea, good luck to you. We'll be thinking about you in the future. Can't wait to see what future you have before us, certainly. To find out more about what you can do with True Up Louisville, please log on to www.trueuplouisville.com. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Heart of Gold.